The Philadelphia Flyers are struggling as of late. They've lost 6 in a row. Rachel Donner of Locked On Flyers is here to talk about the problems they're having and maybe some ways to get out of this hole. All that and more next on today's Locked On NHL podcast.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Gil Martin here. Welcome, everybody, to the Monday edition of the Locked On NHL podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On NHL your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. And thank you for helping to make Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL playoffs are here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. It is my pleasure to welcome back to the show my usual Friday co-host here on Locked On NHL, but also a co-host of Locked On Flyers, Rachel Donner. And I can't say happy Friday, Rachel, but happy Monday.
Can't really say that either, to be honest.
Yeah, rough times in Flyerland, now a 6-game losing streak. I mean, they surprised a lot of people early on. What's been going wrong during this losing streak?
Yeah, so I think, a lot of people can point to the fact that the Flyers were getting a lot of either loser points or winning in shootouts earlier in the season. And so was that a mirage earlier in the season, right? So people are asking that question and it's valid. And I would say the answer to that is it wasn't a mirage, but it helped, right? But the things that are happening right now is the goaltending is an issue. And Dan Vladar is hurt, and he has been the #1 goaltender this season. He's performed mostly really well for the Flyers this season. There's a reason why he is theoretically going to be the Czech #1 goaltender in the Olympics, right? But that being said, now that he's hurt, we're seeing the weakness in the backup situation. So Sam Ersson was given any and all opportunity to get the starter's job. He didn't earn it. And so he was clearly the backup, and he has just not been able to step up. He is just not playing well. And Alexei Kolosov, who just got called up, he just allowed 3 goals on 3 shots versus the New York Rangers on Saturday. That was not ideal. That is for sure. Kolosov, though, was playing very well. I wouldn't say beyond all, but I would say very well in the AHL. And he gets the call up and he just didn't adjust. His vision didn't adjust, and there are goals that he should have stopped and didn't. And so they pull Kolosov, who had come in relief for Ersson in the previous game, by the way. So goaltending is a mess right now, and that's a big problem. And the skaters are trying to figure out how to make up for it and having to come back from bigger and bigger deficits. The Flyers were able to have comebacks earlier in the season, but that's come back on a 2-goal deficit. You can do that. On a 4-goal deficit, not so much, right?
Any idea when Vladar will be available again?
Not as of recording here, but, I am certainly hopeful because the Flyers need it. The other big issue is special teams. It's not just the power play, it's the penalty kill. The penalty kill has taken a nosedive. And if you look at penalty kill and power play since the Christmas break, the Flyers are the worst in the NHL at both. It's not just one, it's both. And the penalty kill is hovering right at about 60%. The power play is 10%, just under 10%. Unacceptable. And it's a combination of, I would think, coaching and execution. Now, do I think guys are in their most ideal slots? Not necessarily. Rasmus Ristolainen was playing on the power play. That's a tough sign, right? Now, Jamie Drysdale was out for a bit. That had something to do with it, but he's back. I don't think they're utilizing the players as optimally as they really should in terms of where they are on the power play and who's getting the minutes there in particular. But is there an execution problem? Yeah, the Flyers aren't getting to the shooting lanes quick enough sometimes.
Is there one guy who's healthy, who's on this roster, who you think could step up and maybe help improve this power play?
That's a tough question. I mean, I think, when you look at who the scorer guys should be on this team, they're actually still scoring. It's Trevor Zegras. It's Travis Konechny, right? Could Owen Tippett be scoring more? Yeah, he has a flashy game every now and again. He needs to be a little bit more consistent. It would be nice if Noah Cates was scoring more, but that's not his bread and butter. He's a two-way guy, right? And Sean Couturier, he's like become a more defensive forward, right? I think Christian Dvorak has been scoring, but they put him on the power play too, and he's not like a difference maker on the power play. I would say, his scoring I think has been good this season, but that's not enough, right?
Yeah, it is an ongoing problem. 5-on-5, a little better, but power play, penalty kill, been a struggle. So here we are. The Olympic break is less than a month away. And then you have the trade deadline not too long after the return from the Olympic break. With the standings so tight in the Eastern Conference and in the Metro, what do you expect the Flyers to do? And what would you do if you were GM of the Flyers?
Yeah, I really feel like the Flyers are in a let the chips fall where they may mode this season, that they're not going to make any rash moves to try and make a playoff run, but they're not going to sell the farm either if they don't make the playoffs, right? They feel really confident in the plan that they're working with. They feel confident in a lot of the pieces that the Flyers have. They just literally extended Christian Dvorak for 5 years when he could have been a very big trade piece at deadline. But, with Rasmus Ristolainen is like on and off in terms of injury, you can't really count on him as a trade piece either. Last season we saw the Flyers trade Joel Farabee and Morgan Frost to the Calgary Flames. Could a deal like that come up? Maybe, if it's with a team that they feel like they can, get some guys who have a lot of potential and maybe give them a fresh start on the Flyers. Dan Vladar, for instance, was a really good signing from the Calgary Flames. Get a backup who has potential to be a starter. That has turned out well. But, as far as the trades go, like the costs are too high to fix the problems that the Flyers have right now. And so my gut says they're going to wait till the off season.
So if they were to trade a player or two away at the deadline, who might some of those potential candidates be?
I mean, very few options there because you want to sell high in these circumstances. Based on the fact that you've already said that you have confidence in the group and in the plan to a large degree, and you have maybe a couple of prospects waiting around the corner in like next year or the year after that you think maybe will make the Flyers. I think, Bobby Brink is maybe on that list, but he's been injured. He's on IR. So again, not really an option right now. And I think that, Owen Tippett has always come up in these conversations, but again, cannot sell high on him right now. So what's the deal going to be? That would be, I think, a big question. I think that when you saw what happened with Egor Zamula, that showed what the market was for some of the Flyers depth players, I think, in a big picture. I mean, the Flyers are in a really tough situation right now when it comes to that I don't think there's a big way to make a significant level of improvement this season using trade at the deadline. There just isn't. And I also do not think there's an appetite, nor is there a need, to be honest, to make a big selling front to gain some assets. Could they do a deal or two that are smaller? Maybe. But I just don't see it coming again, unless it's something like really, significant like that Farabee Frost deal that they did last year.
All right. Well, Rachel, I know you and your co-host will have it covered for the rest of the season. Why don't you tell our viewers and our listeners where they could find the podcast and where they could find the two of you on social media?
Yeah, Locked On Flyers is, of course, everywhere you find your podcasts, and we are at Locked On Flyers on every single social network that we post at. And I am at R Miriam on Blue Sky. My co-host Russ Cohen is at Sportsology, pretty much on every social media platform as well.
All right, Rachel, thank you so much, and I'll see you Friday.
Yep.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL playoffs are here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Every game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like the most. Open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what boosts you want to apply. The boosts let you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback play, or coaching. And the boosts give you more juice on the bets you already like instead of forcing you to bet something new. Every play feels bigger, and the boost makes your bet feel that way too. You make your picks, then apply your profit boost to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day.